It's late April 2007 in Estonia, a small Baltic country most people couldn't find on a map. The streets are quiet after nightfall, but inside government servers, something is breaking. Suddenly, banks go offline. Parliament's website vanishes. News stations go dark. ATM machines freeze. Even emergency services can't connect. But there are no bombs, no sirens, no soldiers in the streets. This is something new. The entire country is under attack. And the weapon? Lines of code. Over the next few hours, Estonia, one of the most digitally advanced nations on Earth, will be pushed to the edge of collapse. The culprit? No fingerprints, no flag, just rumors, whispers of Russia. But how do you take down a country without firing a single shot? Who was really behind the first cyber war in history? And what does it tell us about the wars still to come? This is the story of how hackers took down an entire country. Tallinn, Estonia, April 26, 2007. In the heart of the capital stands a bronze statue of a World War II Soviet soldier. For decades, it loomed as a symbol of Soviet victory, and for many Estonians, a painful reminder of decades of Soviet occupation. To Estonia's ethnic Russian minority, however, the statue is a cherished memorial. On this day, the Estonian government makes a fateful decision to relocate the bronze soldier from the city center to a military cemetery. As night falls, emotions in Tallinn ignite. Thousands of mostly Russian-speaking protesters gather near the statue's site. What begins as a tense demonstration spirals into unrest. By midnight, riots erupt. Streets fill with angry youths hurling rocks and bottles. Store windows shatter, cars are set ablaze. Amid the chaos, police clash with rioters, dozens are injured, and one person tragically loses their life in the turmoil. For 2 nights, Tallinn burns with anger over the bronze soldier. By April 28th, authorities finally restore a fragile order on the streets. Shattered glass is swept up, fires are doused, and the bronze soldier is whisked away to its new location. Estonia has weathered the physical storm, but just as the riots end, something far more dangerous begins. Estonia's war isn't over. It's just moved into cyberspace, and no one's ready for what's coming. The streets of Tallinn are quiet again. The fires are out. The crowds have gone home. But while Estonia cleans up broken glass, something strange is happening online. Late on April 27th, government websites start acting weird. The Prime Minister's site crashes. The National Parliament offline. Across town, news editors at Estonia's largest newspaper are suddenly flooded with comment spam. Thousands of junk messages pouring in all at once. It looks like angry readers reacting to the riots. But then, the defacements start. The ruling Reform Party's website is suddenly replaced with a Soviet flag and an angry message, a brazen act of digital vandalism. It's now clear this is no random overload. Someone is deliberately attacking Estonia's online infrastructure. Word spreads among IT staff and government ministers. Estonia is under cyber attack. But who is behind it? Clues soon emerge on Russian-language forums, where users share target lists and simple tools to flood Estonian sites. It's like a call to arms for tech-savvy nationalists. Instructions on how to join the digital barrage are spreading fast. By the end of April 28th, dozens of Estonian websites are being bombarded with distributed denial-of-service assaults. These DDoS attacks are like thousands of digital battering rams hitting a wall. So much junk traffic that legitimate users can't get through. Estonia's IT teams scramble to respond. Their graphs are spiking off the charts. And here's the part no one sees coming. This is just the warm-up, because the next wave, it won't be angry teenagers. It'll be a full-scale, military-grade digital assault. And Estonia, one of the most wired nations on Earth, is about to become ground zero, but obviously after subscribing to the channel. The attackers escalate their campaign. In the first days of May 2007, a second wave of assaults hits with unprecedented force. This time, it's not just volunteer pranksters. A vast botnet army joins the fray. Hundreds of thousands of hijacked computers from around the globe, from Vietnam to the United States, have been commandeered by malware and turned into unwitting foot soldiers. Now, They all unleash a synchronized flood of data toward Estonia. Suddenly, enormous waves of bogus traffic slam into Estonia's digital infrastructure. It's the equivalent of hundreds of millions of knocks on the door all at once. Web servers crash under the load. At the peak of the attack, 58 major websites are offline simultaneously. Government portals vanish from the web. Newspapers can't publish their stories online. Banking systems freeze, leaving citizens unable to withdraw cash or use credit cards. Even the National Emergency Hotline faces outages as telephone exchanges go down under the digital barrage. Imagine waking up in Tallinn at this moment. You can't pay for gas because payment systems are down. You rush to an ATM, it's out of service. You try to check the news on TV or online, every channel in sight is unresponsive. Information blackout. The sense of panic in the air is real, even though the attack itself is invisible. Inside government offices, it's all hands on deck. Estonia's two-man computer emergency response team works round the clock, frantically trying to filter and reroute internet traffic. To survive the onslaught, they make a drastic move, temporarily severing international internet connections to stop the flood at the border. It's like pulling up the drawbridge during a siege, painful but necessary. This slows the attackers down, but it also cuts off Estonians from much of the outside online world. Calls for help go out to allies. NATO and EU cybersecurity experts fly in to assist and observe. This is new territory for everyone. For nearly 2 weeks, the barrage continues in relentless waves, testing every defense Estonia can muster. But gradually, by mid-May, the tide begins to recede. One by one, websites flicker back to life. The siege is over. The country survived, barely. But the biggest question still hadn't been answered. Who was behind the attack? The trail leads straight to Moscow, but not in the way you'd expect. When the immediate crisis passes, one question remains. Who did this? An attack of this scale feels too coordinated to be a random hacker prank. From day one, Estonia's leaders have pointed east, at Russia. The Bronze Soldier fiasco gave plenty of motive, and Estonian officials openly accused the Kremlin of masterminding the cyber sabotage as revenge for the statue's removal. Moscow, of course, denies everything. Russian officials smirk and call the accusations absurd. There's no hard proof, they insist, that the Russian state pressed the attack button. And truth be told, directly pinning the attack on the Kremlin is tricky. The perpetrators hid behind layers of anonymity. Botnets made the flood of traffic look like it came from everywhere at once. Skilled hackers routed their strikes through compromised servers on distant continents. This is the fog of cyber war. Attackers can mask their identity with a few clicks and keystrokes. Still, investigators uncover tantalizing hints. Those Russian forum postings coordinating the attacks weren't exactly secret. They suggest that patriotic hackers, possibly egged on by Russian nationalist groups, were heavily involved. In fact, months later, a leader of a pro-Kremlin youth movement called Nashi bragged to the press that it was he who organized the cyber attack on Estonia. He claimed it was a grassroots digital retaliation by young Russians outraged over the Bronze Soldier. Some experts took that with a grain of salt, suspecting he exaggerated his role, or was covering for someone else. Meanwhile, an ethnic Russian Estonian student became one of the few people actually caught and convicted for participating in the attacks. He had used his home computer to blast Estonian websites. But he was a small fish. The big players remained ghosts in the wires, whether it was an officially orchestrated Kremlin operation or an unofficial patriotic hacker uprising, or a bit of both. The 2007 attack blurred the line between civilian mischief and state-sponsored warfare. But Estonia wasn't just a victim. What happened next would change cyber defense forever and put a tiny nation at the center of global cybersecurity. Estonia's ordeal did not end in vain. In the aftermath, the tiny nation became an unlikely global leader in cybersecurity. They beefed up their cyber defenses and built new systems to prevent such chaos from happening again. And the rest of the world woke up to a stark reality. This could happen to any of us. The events of 2007 prompted NATO to establish its Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence in Tallinn, making Estonia ground zero for cyber warfare research and strategy. Military doctrines began to change. Suddenly, generals and policymakers had to consider cyber attacks alongside tanks and warplanes. Could a massive DDoS attack one day be treated like an armed attack? Estonia's case posed this chilling question. In the years since, echoes of the Estonian cyber war have been heard around the world. Just a year later, in 2008, a wave of cyber attacks struck Georgia alongside a Russian military invasion. Over the next decade, attacks on power grids, hospitals, and election systems, from Ukraine to the United States, all underscored the lesson Estonia learned. The battlefield has expanded into cyberspace. What happened in Estonia was a warning shot for the future. It showed how a modern society, deeply reliant on the internet, could be thrown into chaos without a single conventional weapon. No bombs, no soldiers, just code. That revelation reshaped how nations think about defense. Today, cyber defense is as critical as border defense. In 2007, a new era of warfare announced itself in the quiet whir of computer servers in Estonia. The first country to be knocked offline by cyber warfare got back up stronger. And it taught the world that in the wars of tomorrow, the most dangerous enemy may be the one you can't even see.